I'm here in capacity as translations editor for MadHat. I got involved about 3-4 years ago. You can go online. Issue number 12 has about 24 contemporary Russian and Ukrainian writers in English translation. For the next issue, issue 16, we'll be doing part 2 of that. That's back to the USSR. We'll be covering Siberia, Central Asia, the Baltics, and the Caucasus. And then also I'm editing a feature on indigenous writing from the former Soviet Union. Chukchi, Hunty, Chuvash. What I have for you today, I thought it'd be interesting to hear one of those, is Marsana Ulzatuyev. He is a Buryak, that's from the Baikal region of Siberia, Shenshen Mountains, border of Mongolia. The Baikal is the greatest reservoir of fresh water in the world, they share the same branch of Buddhism as Tibet does, and it just so happens that today is the Tibetan New Year. I actually picked them because it's a kind of a reunion for Philip, who, so Marsana Ulzatuyev was born in Ulan-Ude in 1963. He was just a couple of years ahead of Philip at the Gorky Institute of Literature. Russia does not have MFA programs. That's where poets go to be trained. Here's an old acquaintance. And I will just say just a little bit. Kumis, of course, all Russians know, is fermented mare's milk, which is the traditional drink out there. This one's called, and the poems are forthcoming, so you can find them online. The first 2 will be online at Plume. The others will be in the next 2 issues of World Literature Today. Butchering the Ram. And while traveling the transcendental path of nonviolence, extracting out of the hyperspace the fermentation of kumis, these peoples of the steppe have yet to discover an eschatologically sensitive means for extracting energy from suns. I contemplate the irreversible process in accordance with the second law of thermodynamics, slitting open the gut, sliding the hand under skin to sever the aorta, the zig and zag sing-song slashing of the knife. How from the viscera separate the sun and the Milky Way, the universe from non-being, real body from celestial, the solid soil created, the ether, the world ocean, the abysses are flung open, the origin of origins emerging. Nature is created, the tasty broth of humanity simmers, the vital essences of perfection and of life are oozing. The guests have partaken of the body and the blood and the innards, bones to the dogs. In the yard, freshly skinned, golden skies, fleas tinged with smoke. James Cameron descends into Lake Baikal. The omul is a species of landlocked salmon indigenous to the Baikal. James Cameron descends into Lake Baikal. Either it's James Cameron descending into Lake Baikal or the deep-sea Challenger apparatus carrying a foreign visitor to the omul. Or the Titanic and Avatar are diving into my soul one after another, flooding the mythic seashore of my thoughts, welling up my imagination. How the magnificent vessel floated on the surface of the ocean sea, and how, once exhausted, it capsized, exposing for us the luster and people's poverty, and the camera following the director's intent tried but failed to teach us dummies how widescreen films are supposed to be made. And I recalled DiCaprio, not the glossy demigod of the tabloids, but the ardent romantic, the artist, here where he is more congenial, and the flight of the vicious winged dragons by unearthly waterfalls endlessly more real than even Manhattan's skyline. I imagine how James Cameron, descending into Lake Baikal, transforms from a human being into the avatar of a Baikal seal and investigates the bottom of our daydreams, various endemics and rifts of the golden dream, if we ourselves fail to discover our sacred mystery. From the life of my countrymen in Moscow, a highway robber in the woods he'd have been, cruel and wild, likes to take risks as much as toffee in childhood. In a drunk days he would have sacked Rome or barbarian. Now a realtor rents apartments of others to clients, a job for stale and lazy souls, slave to his own bad habits. Rejoicing for people is extraneous and unnecessary. Just stick the heck for as much as possible. For Christ's sakes, may he forgive him. Lost his father at an early age, didn't obey his mother, fell under the influence of street music. Just one time, and you're hooked. But boy, can he sing. The acathistus service for the Holy Fathers, miracle makers, those that attaineth meekness, acquired wisdom. What are the ancient commandments to us? Aspet recently got smashed again and raised his hand against his kin, and I keep telling him, be kinder. You must be kinder, my brother. Businessman from Mongolia, Irkutsk. Like a raven on a stripped branch, sitting alone on the roof of a high-rise, having lost everything, from the height of the 13th floor dangles his feet. The angels of death, the photographers, the TV journalists have already turned on their cameras. The embassy, the other side of the sacred shore, has already been notified. Entrench, dear one, what have you forgotten in Siberia's region of hungry ghosts? Oh, to ride on horseback at a gallop on the steppes of alpine meadows, and even found the time to say you love this city, this forested country. You bestow as though a souvenir from Ulaanbaatar your corpse to the EST rescuer. So what could the fool of the rescuer rescue if he's not the savior Buddha? Could he return to you the dough lost yesterday at the roulette table? The flame of desire is eternal, so saith the sitter in the lotus. Nothing left to extinguish the debt with, the Chinese dragon burning up the soul. Ench Etrich, my dear man, why did you, as a child with a top, play the wheel of samsara, bleeding from the fold, Mustang's thunder, trade in step songs for poker chips and the stars, mute and unhearing, heir to the human clan's sacred sayings, unbounded willfulness, heedless of gasps and groans, all gallop toward ancestral bones on horsebacks, all apple-dappled. And two really short ones. Quickly, he's kind of become a star in Russia. If you Google Baikal, a poetry festival, you'll find him reading. He just had a reading at the Gogol House and Museum. He's going to be reading at the Tolstoy House and Museum. His last book, his third book, got a really good play from Ogi, and the next book is coming out with Vremya, which is really big. He's kind of like become a performance and slam, Russian slam star. Two short ones. Tramp. A man who has fallen in love with the earth, with planet Earth, tramping upon it barefoot in September, on September the 10th. I raced after and caught up with him at the station of the metro and found out his name was Eric, and that he's a French poet. Once he got accustomed to me a bit, I immediately took a photo with him on my cell phone, bare feet covered in dust, the image of Yoshua HaNozri. He was, so gods walked the earth of planet Earth, refusing food. He said he'd sleep in the bushes beside the Kremlin. And the last one, it's called the Nobel Prize in memoriam of Joseph Brodsky. Tsiolkovsky is like the Russian Tesla. He invented methods of transmission, electric transmissions before anybody else. The Nobel Prize in memoriam of Joseph Brodsky. I think that's it for tonight. Thank you for your patience. It moves me to tears, this Scandinavian ritual, to bless with money Tsiolkovsky-like thoughts. I remember from childhood this buryat custom. Because I'm a child, they shower me with silver coins. The King of Sweden stands wrapped in silk regalia, signifying mankind's gratitude, and broadly smiles, and his entire family clicking their tongues, expressing to no end their pleasure at meeting you, eternal child.